listening to the RM Podcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. Oh my gosh, we've got four peeps on tonight's show. As always, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And Keith Cheatham. And joining us from Boston, it's going to look a little dark on this shot, Mr.
Neil Singleton.
Woo,
That's right.
It.
I'm back.
Sporting that Red Moon gear.
He's got it. Look at it. Just absolutely gorgeous.
And you can get one for $25.
$25. You got to send it in as a check, non-refundable. No, we are very happy to have you here visiting in town. You were here because you wanted to celebrate your mama on Mother's Day.
Yeah, that, and it's also her birthday, and this guy's oldest kid's birthday is coming up.
Whom is your nephew as well.
Who could, who's, your son, Sean, your son.
Yeah, I wasn't pointing at Keith, I was pointing at Sean.
Yes. Well, we are very, very happy to have you here tonight. You have seen the movie that we're going to review.
Yep, so I can't say I'm as happy as you are, but...
Well, because I did the smart thing and completely skipped this movie.
Our fearless leader and dictator who is
I am quite a dick
ruthless
dictator
when it comes to what we must do for his show did not watch.
No, I do. I rib you all the time. But here's the thing.
If me or Sean hadn't have watched it, you would have reamed us.
You know it. I would have taken you out back and beat you with a rubber hose.
Really, for me, because I do the reviews, so if I don't see it, it's kind of like, who has the review?
One of our viewers named Megan Singleton.
What?
Who's that?
Who could that be?
She said our new guest is cute.
Huh.
Keep in your pants.
Neil, I think you need to talk to...
She's embarrassing.
You need to talk to your wife about...
Hi, Megan.
And this is one of the things that we deal with.
Yes,
is toxic fandom.
Women just fawn over us every week on this show. So don't just be sure you let her know, Neil, that
she saw the moon shirt and she just thought of that chiseled chest underneath it.
That's it. No doubt. And I'm telling you, I can see it from here. It's just it's poking through the pecs.
Oh gosh.
Whew. The pecs are poking.
I'm feeling a little warm. I'm feeling my face is gonna be as red as one of these.
Willow.
Oh gosh.
We got a great show. We got a great show because we got a great guest with us. But we also have a great review.
So you're saying when we don't have a great guest with us, we don't have a great show?
Nah, they're mediocre.
We'll have more views this week.
Yeah. One of them.
One more, Megan.
Nah, she usually watches. She'll tune out a little bit, but she watches.
You've already forewarned her. She can't watch for a long time.
No,
You told her she had to go to bed.
She's got to get to bed.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's 9:03.
She's only got like 10 more minutes with us.
12.
Right? So she'll
12.
see the review. She's not even gonna get. He's counting
It's
every
like
second.
9:15 and you're getting punished.
That's right.
If you're
Nah, she's like a kid. She just delays it as long as she can.
Exactly. Wow. I understand. Who wants to say goodbye to today? Because tomorrow may never come. That was bleak.
Wow. I mean, after this movie. Yeah.
That's about how you feel?
That was.
You wish tomorrow would never come?
Right.
Yeah. No, I understand. It's sad because she's not going to see the best part of the show. Because we've got two amazing topics that we're going to talk about. Obviously, the fiasco that is award season will be disrupted when the Golden Globes
that's the thing.
no longer air.
We were finally past the damn award season because I was tired of it, and here we are getting pulled back in.
Well, the good thing about award season is that as soon as it's over, the next one starts.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it started
true.
technically in I guess January when they start. No, actually the award season started in February because the noms went all the way up to February.
Right.
But we're not talking Oscars fiasco. Although I think it'll impact the Oscars definitely.
Oh yes,
it's going to impact which again. the whole point of the question for the title of this episode is really, should we even give a damn anymore about award shows?
I mean,
and we're going to discuss.
We're gonna get into that. But
Absolutely.
Before it's funny because we usually hype up the review a little bit more, but I think at this point none of us really care a whole lot.
We've pretty much tore it down completely.
I care a lot.
Yeah, I know you watched the movie, so
I care quite. Yeah, even I watched it.
I watched it twice. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Keith.
Oh man, see, your extra viewing counted for mine. Thank you, Keith. You took one for the team.
Yeah, 4 total viewings. Yeah,
exactly. Alrighty, guys. So let's throw to it. Here is our review of the Netflix original Stowaway.
Movie releases are back down to a trickle, though the following months hold promise that the dam will soon bust wide open. As we anticipate getting back to theaters and seeing some of the biggest films Hollywood has held back for over a year, we continue with the latest streaming releases. This week we are tackling Stowaway, a Netflix sci-fi original that has garnered buzz amongst critics, but isn't as unique a story as they say. Directed by Joe Penna, Stowaway is a new spin on a classic sci-fi story, or else that is what it tries its hardest to be. Centered around a space crew on a 2-year mission to Mars, while doing a routine inspection, the ship's commander, Marina, played by Toni Collette, discovers an accidental stowaway, Michael, portrayed by Shamier Anderson, a launch support engineer who was accidentally sealed up on the ship's oxygen support system. How, you may ask, could this happen? Well, I'm still waiting for this to be realistically answered. Only having enough oxygen to support the 3-person crew, taken down to 2 people due to Michael being wrapped up in the system that scrubs CO2 from the ship, Commander Marina, crew biologist David, played by Daniel Day Kim, and ship doctor Zoe, portrayed by Anna Kendrick, all set about to find a way for all 4 members to survive. The film is heavily inspired by the short story The Cold Equation, written by Tom Godwin, which, similar to the film, is about an astronaut on a ship with only enough supplies and oxygen to support his own life, discovering a stowaway on board. Unlike the film, however, this astronaut is on a mission to bring life-saving medicine to a colony on Mars, and must choose between sacrificing the lives of the colonists or the stowaway found on board. This story has sometimes received criticism that no ship would be designed with such a small margin of error, and that this in general would be poor engineering. The Stowaway attempts to do its best to correct this gripe by creating a series of catastrophes one after the other that forces the crew to make a decision on who lives or dies, though only the lives of the crew are at stake, thus lessening the philosophical ramifications of their decision as opposed to the cold equations, while also making the film a laughable mess, as you can actively see the movie's creators try to come up with reasons for why the crew will constantly fail. The film is well acted by all involved, but even the best acting will come off as melodramatic after such a perpetual series of unfortunate events. Knowing that we should feel bad for these characters, but finding it hard to do so, as it's painfully obvious that the reason all their brilliant solutions are failing is because the story demands one of them must die. Even the ending, which is supposed to be a melancholy and reflective moment, just feels forced and laughable. I never felt there was any real danger because all of the obstacles felt specifically generated to force the characters' backs against the wall, rather than being natural obstacles they would have to face. By the end of the film, there was nothing redeeming enough to have warranted the time wasted on the movie. The film is well made with solid set pieces, special effects, and again, the actors give good performances. But I never cared about a single character or who would live or die. And by the film's end, if the whole ship had blown up and killed them all, I would not have been surprised, and also still would not have cared any more or less than I do now. I give The Stowaway 2 out of 4 stars.
2 out of 4 stars.
I feel that was a very generous 2 out of 4 stars.
I was going to say, because the way we've been talking it down, most people, I mean, we've given a lot of positive 2 out of 4 stars on this show before. We've talked about it, but this is not one of them. In fact, Sean, I think, did you rated it lower?
1.5, yeah.
Ooh.
It was one of those where, like, production-wise, it wasn't, like, it looks good, the special effects are good.
Yeah.
I mean, the acting's okay, but, like, the writing's kind of bad, so, like, everything they do seems so melodramatic. I mentioned, like, several times, like, anytime something went wrong or something bad happened, every actor just put their hand on their forehead and look. Right. I'm like, oh, we know this is a bad moment because their hand's on their head, and it was just, yeah.
The music didn't help.
No,
it was not.
It was melancholy.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I know I'm gonna use this as like a little psychological.
Yeah, tell us how you felt about it.
Well, this is what I do to test you all.
Yeah.
So every 6 months, I just don't watch one of the reviews.
Yeah.
Because
And
I just want to hear your all's opinion as if I'm one of the viewers.
I'll one up you.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
It's really
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I'll one up you.
Oh, you will?
Every other week, I don't watch
You
the
are
movie
your
just
own
to see if you all
focus group,
notice.
basically.
He just makes up the
I
reviews.
just make it up as I go, and nobody's caught me.
Hey, it's like that. It's like when you did those term papers in high school, and they were like, "Don't you plagiarize? We have software that can tell."
We know.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Copy paste Wikipedia.
Yep.
Got a.
You know how many
we're
times
good.
I use clip notes? It did not work in Miss G's class. I'll just say that.
Well, she was.
She definitely.
She knew her stuff.
Man, when it came to the Scarlet Letter, it was bad. I did not read, and it was known on those tests.
Wow.
She picked very specific things. She was like, clip notes is not going to help you.
Yeah.
She was right. But, I get the clip notes on this movie from you all, and Sean, you gave it 1.5 out of 4 stars.
I did.
Explain a little bit, because that's pretty bad.
Usually,
It's a bland movie.
Usually sci-fi movies or anything to do with space has my attention before it even starts.
Yeah.
Just because I love the unknown, and I love how every movie or every film about space seems to try and explain it differently, because it is a lot of unknowns and unpredictable, and but I didn't get that from this movie. I felt like the whole film was entirely predictable, and I felt like a lot of the things that I've seen in other films and things that that I know to be true about space and oxygen and all of these things. Like
I've only been breathing my
I
whole life.
I feel like this movie got a lot of things wrong, and I'm sure that you could get someone to come out like they did with the movie Gravity and defend it and say, "Oh, it's the most realistic movie about space you'll ever
or
see."
The Martian,
or The Martian, whatever.
when he's jetpacking himself
but
around
there
up
were
in
just
space.
there was just a lot of things in the
Gosh.
film that I thought didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Mainly the stowaway and how he survived, because they
That's
don't turn the oxygen on in the living space until they're in space. So the whole ride up there, the only way you breathe is in your suit. And if he's not in a suit, then he's dead. And I just didn't get that.
Let alone the fact that even
he's
in the
stuck-
trailer that I did watch, they literally they unscrew the panel.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like,
How did
how
he
did he
screw him up in
yeah,
there?
he was screwed
he
him
was
up in there.
screwed up in the panel. He's like wrapped up in all these wires going up into space. Like it's like he would have been dead. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
Like the force of him rocking around in there.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
He
how did
was-
he survive?
He
this?
was bleeding a little.
Yeah. Yeah. He hurt him. He
You
got a
know.
boo boo. They had to put some stitches in.
Neil,
It
Neil,
was-
what did
it
you
was
think
bad.
of the film?
I mean, the more I think about it and hear you all talk about it, I started out at 2.
Oh,
I kind of want to go 1.5, but I'll stick with 2.
Yeah.
The opening of the film was great. I
Yeah.
thought the actual launch
Oh, yeah.
sequence, that was awesome. But yeah, the stowaway itself doesn't make any sense. So I came in not knowing anything about the movie.
I didn't know anything about it until I watched it either. So
Like I mean, the title alone was really all the context I had.
Yeah.
So when this guy falls out of this space he's quote
The
unquote
support-
stowed away
yeah.
in, I'm thinking, is he like gonna kill everyone on
Right.
the ship?
Yeah.
Like, where is this story going?
Yeah.
Did someone like attack him and put him up there and screw him into the ceiling?
I mean,
Like,
you would
how-
think,
Yeah.
based on how he's up there, that
Right.
that makes sense.
And the music.
yeah.
I mean, part of this might have been subtitles because Keith had subtitles on.
It did say
so-
like suspenseful music, melancholy music.
Yeah. So I was just like,
It lets you know what you're supposed to be feeling.
Right.
yeah. The whole time I'm like, where is this going?
Listen, I had to have those subtitles on so I knew what to feel because the movie wasn't making me feel it.
Yep.
wow,
myself.
There you
that, that right there alone, that's.
I mean, like Neil said, the beginning with the launch, like the look on Anna Kendrick's face, which she's not my favorite anyway. I've said that, but I thought the look of like scared and thrilled,
Yeah, that
and,
anxiousness,
like
yeah.
that adrenaline, and then the joy of it's the first time she's in space. Like, I mean, I saw that in her face, and I was thinking, oh man, like if they can do that in the first 3 minutes of the movie,
it's going to be
then
good.
this
You're
is
in
going to
good
be
for a
good.
good ride.
Yeah, and it just
Well, and Keith, you had mentioned in the review about the acting was one of the positive attributes.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good, like I want to say like decent moments, but then there was always ruined by I feel like the story and how they were reacting to things just didn't feel like it just felt like too much sometimes for what the situation was going on. Just like the whole like how they survive, like they don't have enough oxygen, so they keep thinking up ways so that all 4 of them have enough. And every single time they have a solution, something bad happens, and now it's back down to only 2 of them can survive. And every time like just like I said, with the hands on their face, or just the way like there's a scene where Anna Kendrick walks into the room where Toni Collette and Daniel Day Kim are sitting there, where he's had his algae that was growing that was going to save them. Yeah, and which I mean that's a real thing. Like they are experimenting with algae to like colonize like other planets, but. It's one of those things where right before that scene, him and Anna Kendrick have an argument. And you see him reach out and grab like the shelf with the algae on it. And he's sitting there shaking it like, this is what's saving us. And then the next scene's it's dead. And I'm like, well, that's what killed it. And I know like
shaking algae syndrome.
It's moments where like that where you could have a good acted scene, but then like because the way it's cut and edited in the movie, it's just like, well, now it just looks stupid because it's like your algae died right after. It's like he shook the algae and killed it, which wasn't the intention.
Well, they go through this whole emotional moment where they realize they've got enough oxygen for 3 people, so the stowaway somebody's gonna have to die,
and it's gotta be the stowaway,
and it's got to be him because he does. But that was the other thing. He's an engineer. They ask him what he does. He's an engineer, but he contributes nothing to. He gives no ideas at all.
He's still in school though.
Yeah.
Oh, was he still in school?
Yeah, he was like in a master's program or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But
still,
you
shows you that a college education doesn't do crap nowadays.
Well, it doesn't till the master's program. The first 4 years.
Right.
Program.
He hadn't paid enough money.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, but to your point, he should have been able to do something.
Something.
And he did do some stuff.
He didn't even know how to put a suit on. They had to show him how to do that.
Well, wasn't it? I couldn't tell. But
I get that.
Was he like paralyzed or something?
No.
He wasn't.
No.
Because I swear there was one scene where in the trailer it looked like they were trying to help him, and he kept falling down.
He was cut real bad.
He was injured.
Trouble
He was
walking.
cut real bad. He was unconscious up there for who knows how long. So he was disoriented. He was in space. Because I mean, you think astronauts have to train for years to be able to go into space, and this guy just gets launched into it, and after a few minutes, he's adjusted and he's fine. And I'm like, because that was another thing that bothered me. I'm like, this guy had no training to do any of this. And I mean, they try to hint at that somewhat, like when she's trying to teach him how to climb the thing to get up there. Yeah. But I'm like, no, like.
Well, they make the point several times in the movie that he doesn't have the training for this, and it's like the captain says like he's not, or the commander, or what are they called on us?
He was commander. Yeah.
He doesn't have the training for this. He's not trained for that. And I'm like, we know, but in a life and death situation, sometimes people gotta. Pick up the torch and go.
Well, that was another thing. He doesn't have the training for like doing the stuff outside the ship in the suit, but like you said, he's an engineer. Like as far as certain things in the ship, you would think he'd be able, especially if he's an engineer that helped work on the ship. He should know how at least part of the ship operates.
He doesn't even take one look at the freaking CO2 or the. Whatever the contraption
like it's broken,
is
it
that
can't
breaks.
be fixed.
It's like you think an engineer would have been like, well, maybe I can toy with that or something, but no, it's just
even if I get it working halfway, that's enough.
Well, I was
going to say
you would think
he
would add some kind of input that would be, I guess, make his being present on the ship
right.
At least worthwhile.
I mean,
he does try to help, and they put him doing like menial tasks, just to like, just
because they know he can't.
Here, type in this data as I read it to you.
But this is all after Anna Kendrick's character says, "I'm surprised he's alive."
Yeah.
And then he's walking around the ship like no problem.
Yeah.
So I mean, from the very outset, I was just kind of questioning things the whole time.
Yeah.
And I said to Keith, like, I haven't yet bought into like the basic premise of anything they're trying to show me.
Nope.
And I'm completely detached from this story.
Yeah.
So every little personal touch they try to add, every little like cute interaction, there were some like kind of funny moments. But it just was never enough.
My favorite personal moment was the best, like as far as like them building characters together.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this sarcastically if you can't tell.
I can tell.
It's when the Asian guy teaches the black guy about jazz. That was the best. It's just like, I mean, I get it, but it was
got to throw cultural
funny.
Appropriation in there,
it was funny.
just to make it lighthearted.
But even that guy, I can't think of his name. He was the guy from Lost.
Yeah, Daniel Day Kim.
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
which that's the thing. Sad thing is seeing him in a movie. I was like, holy crap, he hasn't been in anything recently.
He's been doing.
He was in Lost.
Yeah, but he's in some cop show. Miami Vice or something
he was
like
in
that.
Hawaii
Five-O.
He's not in that though.
Oh no,
That's not.
I thought
him.
he was in some cop show. Maybe it wasn't Hawaii.
Maybe
Five-O.
it is.
Maybe it was Miami Vice.
That got canceled or something.
He was in one of them CSI or some shows.
I'm
But
gonna
anyway,
Google it.
one of those
show.
bad cop shows that gets canceled.
Yes.
But no, like he has this moment where he's gonna be he's the deciding factor. Yes, we've got to get rid of this guy, the Stowaway. So we're gonna kill him.
Yeah.
So he
was in Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So he
well,
takes
all
up the helm and gets the basically a euthanization shot needle ready, and he goes and tells the guy, and he wants him to kill himself and everything. And then it's the very next scene that the algae dies, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if you were gonna be in this predicament no matter what,
Why
and
wouldn't
you
you still
realize
go?
that,
Yeah.
well, no, I mean he doesn't. They don't get in that predicament until after he tries to have him commit suicide. But to me, any decent human being would have said, "I'm sorry." Like it wasn't personal. This is just what we had to do, and you were the logical choice. And now we're in this situation where we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And I would have thought that would have been the moment where you would have realized that your thought process behind that was a little too quick, and that you would apologize to the dude.
Well, he tried.
He did.
He does
try.
try, and the guy's like, "It's because the guy goes, it's okay."
Well, yeah,
It
when
stops
he's
him.
when he's in the suit and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at that moment, I wanted something like that. I wanted there to be, but there wasn't. There was no emotion in this movie at all. Even the whole fire,
no.
the scars on him, and
Every time they
the
try to do something
apartment fire
emotional,
thing,
it falls flat.
I was just like, okay, that's a good story to make you want him to stay alive, because he's got this sister back at home that can't survive without him. And that's what turns Anna Kendrick to come in his to come in his defense. But I'm like, even that wasn't enough. At the point we were at in that part of the film, it was like, you've already lost me. Like I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, the film's got 30 minutes left. Like, what are you gonna do with this?
Well,
in
and
30
that's the
minutes?
weird part, that it seems like to me too that it's a lot that for them to tell the story they want to tell with as many characters as they introduce. It seems as if they get lost in the weeds of trying to make you emotionally attached, but there's not enough depth for each of the characters to make you emotionally attached.
Right.
And then considering what they're facing in this life or death situation, it's kind of like I like the way you say it at the end of the review. If the ship would just blow
if it
up,
blew
I
up,
wouldn't care about
if they
any
all
one of them.
if they all died, I would have been like, well,
How do we know that doesn't happen? The way the movie ends, you're like, do they make it to Mars? Do they not?
That was another problem I had with the film, is like they try to like keep you on your toes, like what's going to happen next, but it's so painfully obvious. Like you said, like so many times in the movie, the writing is like with her, like he doesn't have the training for this, or with Daniel Day Kim, like if my algae dies, or they say it so much that you know, like it's like, okay, this is no longer
going to happen.
It's like this is no longer foreshadowing. We know that him not having training is going to come into play, and his algae dying is going to come into play, because they mention it as a possibility so often, and it's like, well, this is obvious.
When did Apollo 13 happen? Was that in the 60s?
You're talking about the actual
The real,
mission?
Was that in the 60s?
Yes, it would have been like late 60s, I believe.
Yeah.
Early
so
70s,
the whole
actually.
problem with Apollo 13
the moon landing was that was the
It was
64.
69.
Right. The main issue that they had was the oxygen scrubber went out. So NASA, back on Earth, devises a way to take shit from the cockpit and make a new oxygen scrubber.
Yeah.
So where's the greatest minds in the world coming up? And then the other thing, you think from Apollo 13, you think you would learn, maybe when you go into space, you take a couple of extra oxygen scrubbers with you.
Well, here's what I hate about any of these dystopian, like, they're sent off on these one-off missions. I mean, at least in, I think it was The Martian, when they're like, oh, crap, we got to go back and try to get them. They're trying to head back to Earth to get back to their families. But at the same time, it's like, I hate how it's just they're completely separated. And I'm like, if we have the ability to travel to Mars to do what we're about to do, we're going to have communication with...
We've got that figured out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, I hate how, like, it's different in something like The Midnight Sky, which I thought was also another bad movie.
Look at Interstellar. I mean, it wasn't immediate, but they were still able to communicate.
Well, and they even said that was one of the risks, is it was like, when you get to where you're going through this wormhole, it's like, for one, it was them going down on the planet and then coming back up, and it being several years later.
Well, I mean, that's actual real physics.
Right.
As you go past the speed of light, like, you age normally, but everything else around you is going to age double.
Exactly. So I'm sitting here thinking, there's still communication, though, back and forth with the people that are sending them on this mission. But in a lot of these movies, you completely lose
communication with
That's all she
was
did.
it Joe? It
Jim.
never s-
It
Jim.
was
It never
Jim.
says his name
really?
in the movie, but in the credits it says Jim muffled voice.
That's literally all she did.
Yeah.
She
So
she
there was
piloted the
supposedly
launch.
contact.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
with like NASA, with whoever's in command, but that's
Yeah.
all because that's the whole point is they keep contacting them like, how do we buy out of this?
Yes.
And NASA's like, we can't figure. There's no other way other than
Okay,
killing him.
then
Yeah.
back to Sean's point. BS.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
they're
that
not
was
going to
live.
do what
that
they
was
can.
live. That
Oh, they-
wasn't like we're sending a message and 12 minutes later you're going to get it.
Yeah.
They were talking
yeah,
live.
Yeah.
back and forth, and they were like, we have every physicist and every scientist on the way trying to figure out a solution for you all to survive, and we can't think of
Yeah,
anything.
these just
like,
seem like MacGuffins that
Yeah.
are just thrown
They're
out
like,
there.
one of you
to
has
just
to
make
die.
The plot
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
carry along. And to make it so that they can stumble upon another hurdle they've got to get over.
Yeah.
And again, when a movie's written well enough, even apart from trying to foreshadow it, when there are clever things like breadcrumbs that are laid out throughout for you to then watch, and as the movie continues, you're like, oh, they already set that up.
Or when
And-
you're a really smart doctor who's the lives of everybody's at stake here, you just don't clamp yourself onto the bar and try to climb down, and then you fall and drop a tank. Because I'm like, why? Like that made no sense to
Yeah.
me. I was like, why would she not have, before she started going, clamped herself to the? Because that's another thing is they lose one of the oxygen tanks when they go outside. Because as the gravity gets stronger, as she gets closer to the ship,
Pulls her down.
it starts
Oh.
pulling her down, and she can't because they do have clamps, but she wasn't using them at that point. And I'm like, this is dumb. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
But
why?
Keith,
Like,
Keith, why did they need the clamps?
well, I
This
mean,
brings
part
me
of that
back to
was
the whole tether
to
thing.
climb it. Yeah,
like-
nobody was tethered to anything either. It's like, so
Yeah.
if they, not only was she not clamped, but if she let go, she would have drifted because they weren't tethered to anything. They just
What?
would have drifted off into space.
Yeah.
But more than that, what I mean is like the actual construction of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've got the ship, you've got this other thing
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end, and the solar panels in the middle, and it's like they said
Spinning.
450 meters
Yeah.
of like line that they have to
Yeah.
climb
Just
up.
this metal pole that's like literally like this big around
Mhm.
that they're climbing up. And there's like 3 of these poles that are connecting one end of the ship to the solar panel to the other end, making it spin. So yeah, Neil pointed out it's like the first piece of space debris, like a meteor, asteroid,
Gone.
something hits any of those like support beams.
Yep.
It's gone, and they're screwed because they can't go anywhere. They don't have. They already
And we
said
know
that they don't
that's
have
going
enough
to
fuel.
happen because we've seen Gravity.
Yeah.
And Gravity can make that
Well, I
happen.
mean, everything that could possibly happen to go wrong happens in this movie. So you know, after the credits roll, they all die. Because that was
No,
the next
because
thing.
we got to see Tony Collette's face in that little window. Not.
Well, so-
it was supposed to be a serious moment where Anna Kendrick's there with the tank
Yeah.
and Tony Collette's staring out. She just goes.
It's okay to go now.
It was
die
It was like
for
Nicolas
us.
Cage in
Willy's Wonderland.
when he's just like. Well, only it's Tony Collette just.
Wow.
Alrighty, guys. I think we've beat this dead horse quite a bit. Stowaway is on Netflix. Check it out at your own risk.
Or not.
It's
Don't get
probably-
your hopes up.
Yeah, it's worth a pass at this point.
Oh, we did. Hold on, I
so
gotta
much
pull that
that
up
I didn't watch it.
because we've talked about our Matt Damon water scale for a long
Oh,
time.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
So
pull that
again,
back
when
up.
movies are so bad,
38,486.
when movies are so
I
bad,
think.
461. You were close.
461. I was close.
461.
So for the budget of this film, we could have given 38,461 people in Africa water for life.
For life.
Wow.
For life.
Think about that.
That's
How
the Matt
many
Damon,
people
the Matt Damon water scale.
could have water instead of having
They could
this
have
movie made?
donated all that money to Matt Damon's company,
there.
and he could have given 38,400 people water.
It would have been so much worth it.
Mm.
So much more worth it.
I'm glad we created the Matt Damon scale.
I am too. I am too. Alrighty, guys. I think we're ready to move on to our headlines this week. Let's get into some of the controversy.
Mm.
Neil, you gotta join in.
This happens every week.
I'm waiting
on.
for Sean.
It's jazz.
I don't
It's-
ever
It's
participate.
group chaos.
Yeah.
You know, you just throw it in.
Where's Daniel Day Kim when you
I'm
need
just
him?
a stowaway.
Oh.
Oh, didn't see that one coming. That was pretty good.
I
See,
just
that's
wanted
what
to add
it's
that
all
in
about.
there.
It's all about rhythm. You got to feel it, and
have
then you
no-
got to just improv.
I have no notes. Again.
no notes. Well,
I definitely don't have notes.
All right. That's the end of that.
I will fill in your all's head. The note section. Don't worry.
Do it.
Oh, I read the
I
notes.
see.
I have them up.
They did update for Keith.
Yeah.
We go through this problem every week with Apple.
iCloud.
Tim Cook, fix it, man. Come
He
on.
can't.
What are you doing?
He can't.
He's
What are
too
you doing?
busy
Too
painting
busy.
rainbows on everything.
Well, I don't understand why in the world Apple can't fix this simple problem. They've had it forever. But we'll move on
Okay.
because, some things are worth moving on. Like award shows. It's time to move beyond award shows. Do we need them anymore? Is the Golden Globes
It's
officially canceled?
It's dead.
Completely gone.
For those of you who don't know, the New York Times, because they did their Times investigation, because when they investigate, it's serious.
That's right.
They've discovered that there are no black members on the Hollywood Foreign Press that vote for the movies, who wins and who's nominated. And I mean, there are other apparently there's been something going on also with the money. Like there's been a few other things that they thought were sketchy with the Hollywood Foreign Press, but their sketchy business model isn't the main concern. The main concern is that they're not diverse.
Of
in
course.
who votes for the movies to be nominated and win. And because of that, now Netflix, Amazon, and many other production companies in Hollywood are boycotting the Globes.
Not only just boycotting,
They're not submitting any
they're
movies
giving
to be
their
nominated.
awards back.
Yeah, Tom Cruise
Tom
has
Cruise
given
said
his
no more.
awards.
I don't want the Golden Globe. It's a piece of crap.
But not only are they giving their rewards back, but now NBC, who has aired the Globes for many a year, is now saying no.
Now here's the thing:
We're not airing
They
this
were standing
racist
firm.
garbage.
They were standing firm on the fact that after certain decisions were made for the Hollywood Foreign Press Association to make these new guidelines,
they'll
and make these
reevaluate.
changes, they were standing firm, and we're still going to air it for next year. 2 days later, of course, that changes when you get the mounting pressure from Amazon, from Netflix, Tom Cruise turning his Globes back in. So all of a sudden, NBC's like, well, we can't fight this battle. So yeah, we're not going to air it now. And here's the thing: as if ratings weren't enough of an indicator that nobody gave a damn. It was only a matter of time until people just said, "Why in the hell are we paying for advertising on a show that nobody watches?" Yeah. And at the end of the day, why do we want to hear these asshole celebrities get up there, rant about whatever cause that they want to? I mean, this is what made Ricky Gervais's speech the one thing worth watching.
Oh, now it's even more
3
relevant.
years ago. Oh, of course it is.
They just keep making him relevant as much as they hate it, and it's because
The
it does
entire
say
woke culture
it says
does.
They shed light on a range of alleged ethical and financial improprieties, and revealed that the organization has no black members, which the Hollywood Foreign Press has announced that they're going to do sweeping reforms, and they're going to increase membership ranks by 50% over the next 18 months with a focus on recruiting black members. But, of course, everybody said that's not good enough.
Not enough.
And NBC said even though they know they're making these changes, they're still not airing it in 2022, but they'll come back and look at it for 2023 and maybe allow them to be aired in 2023, by which time everybody will have forgotten that the Golden Globes even ever existed and no one will care.
Well, and as most people went on about their lives anyway,
I mean,
when it did exist.
I mean, look at how low the ratings were this year. Most people don't pay attention to it anyways
I
anymore.
don't know this. Were the Globes...
Actually, I think the Oscars had worse ratings than the Globes.
they did.
Which
I
is
think
really
the
sad.
Globes
The
actually...
Oscars was 9 million.
It was...
Like 9 point.
Let me
something million.
let me look, because I'm pretty sure the Globes
I think
actually
they
did
did.
have higher ratings.
But the interesting aspect of this is they continue to eat their own. Hollywood is continuing to cannibalize itself. And with this news, it's no shock, because you can't be woke enough these days. You have to, as soon as you give
foreign
in,
press is racist.
well, that's the funny thing. That's hilarious. It's like the irony is they're foreigners. It's like, how more diverse can you get than foreign people, foreign press?
They don't meet the
from
American
all these other,
standard, okay?
Obviously not. Which I think is even more ironic.
Sounds kind of racist.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
Americans are
Exactly.
that Americans are like, okay, we know you all are foreign and you're not from America, but you're all racist.
Yeah. Sounds like an American thing to do from back in 1776. But here's the thing. It's interesting.
Oh no, we were wrong.
Oh, did the Globes?
The Golden Globes had 5.4 million
wow.
viewers. That is abysmal.
Just to put that in perspective, we get more than that on this show every week. Consider that. We get more than 6 million views The Globes averages under that. Can you believe that, guys?
I'm not going to question your math on that.
No, you shouldn't, because it's fact. Just
So
like
does
everything.
but does that mean that the Oscars are going to have 5 million additional viewers next year?
No. No way.
Nah.
There's no way. I mean, at this point, they've been bleeding viewership because of the woke politics, because, again, nobody wants to see rich millionaires
To be
get up
fair,
there
it wasn't
and
their
spout off
lowest.
calls.
Their lowest was in 1995 with 3.6 million. So they've been nobody's cared about them for a few decades.
I think since we've started the show, we've bashed them every year. I mean, but I think it's safe to say that we've kind of gotten to the point with the Oscars in the same sense. I mean, you take something that, how many years was the Golden Globes around? It was like 84. I forget what they were up to.
I was just looking. The saddest part is that in 2020 they had 18.3 million viewers. So that's how far they dropped just from last year.
Which wasn't that the last year that Ricky Gervais hosted?
No,
that was 2019. That was the 2019 Golden Globes.
But isn't part of this that there weren't any like big movies that a lot of people cared about?
That's what they'll say.
That's what here's.
I believe it. I didn't watch either one because I didn't know any of the movies that were on it.
But would you
outside
have,
of listening to you guys?
if you had seen the movies, would you have?
Would
even
you still
cared?
watch?
I would have checked in for some of the bigger categories.
Here's the thing. I agree that part of the problem is that not everybody saw the movies, but even outside of that, the ratings have been like. Here's the thing. I want to see what the ratings are next year when people have seen the movies again.
We can't next year.
Well, we can't for the Golden Globes. we can for the Oscars.
For the Oscars,
we can for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I don't think I want to look and see compared to like 2019. Like if they go back up, then I'm like, okay, maybe it was COVID. If they continue to drop, it's like, okay, it wasn't entirely COVID. Do I think their ratings will be higher next year? Yes, I think they'll be higher than this year because COVID does have some impact. I still don't think it's going to be this major.
I'm not saying it's the whole thing, but I didn't even look up like who won what Oscars this year because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Well,
here's the thing. They had a very bleak picking. Like they weren't the best nominee. I mean, there were some good ones. I mean, we did tout Nomadland,
The
Father,
three that deserved to be there.
Yeah, basically, yeah. The Father, Nomadland, and Sound of Metal are fantastic and deserved it. Everything else is just, eh.
But I still think it's ironic how here we are. You know, you see the Oscars push for the 4 different criteria. You have to have at least 2 in order to make, the Academy more diverse. And you have these instances with, these foreign markets where obviously because they're not in the woke.
1944 is when they started. I just wanted to throw that
wow.
Oh, 1944. Yeah, it was way later than the Oscars. The Oscars is by far, it's like in the 94th year for next year or 95th year. I can't remember.
Wow.
But
not to
it's
interrupt
like,
you, but
I didn't know the Golden Globes started that far back. I thought it started.
Oh, even sooner?
Yeah, like in the 70s or 80s.
But yeah, I mean, they're on like, I forget what. You said 40?
78th was the one.
So 78th, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're not talking about... I mean, again, though, can you chalk it up to the fact that the tradition of what these award shows represent is no longer the same? I mean, we don't have actors and actresses or even filmmakers and people who love the industry coming up and genuinely being excited and accepting. I mean, that to me was... That's why I rolled my eyes when I
was younger. When I would watch the Oscars, like with my mom and dad in the living room, on our TV that sat on the floor,
I watched it at my grandparents' house.
television, it was all because I knew who Harrison Ford was. I knew who Brad Pitt was.
Even the host, Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg.
Billy Crystal was amazing.
Yes.
But like seeing them get up on stage and accept their award graciously and thank God and thank their mothers and thank people who actually paid money for a movie ticket to see their movie. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
and it was cool because your favorite actors were up there being humans instead of being dictators or whatever they think they are now.
Yeah.
I mean,
saviors.
They
are. That's very good.
I mean, they are.
Yes.
They just preach at you the whole time. And I mean, you that's why I think you have something popular like a clip of Ricky Gervais's monologue circulating and people, because it's like, it's
take your award, thank your God, shut up.
Exactly. and I found it funny because I'm like, you have the fact that you have the hubris in that room to mock someone like him who's mocking them.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. And I thought, okay, well, this is at least the Hollywood Foreign Press kind of is poking fun at itself.
Yeah.
For being, this hoity-toity award ceremony that nobody cares about. But now they're truly getting to the point where they are making it irrelevant. And I guess, again, you can't be woke enough these days. But especially within the award ceremonies, is it a problem that I think is going to bleed over into other award ceremonies? And rightfully so. Should it be? Should it be that because now that they're no longer truly about the prestige of the award itself, it's more about the person who thinks that somehow this makes them a god, to be able to preach out to people. Is this rightfully so? What should be the case? What should be happening to award shows?
The sad thing about it is I feel like some of these actors and actresses that get up on stage, I don't even feel like they really genuinely believe what they're saying.
Some
I
of
feel
them
like,
I don't think
I
they
feel
do.
like they get up there and they say it because they know they're expected to.
Yeah.
And that they don't really
They're
believe
pressured
that.
to,
And that's
yeah.
what I think is sad is like they go home and probably feel completely different. I would even imagine some of them ride in their limousines on their way home and they're just like, why did I say that? But they literally feel
Why the hell
like
was I even there?
they're expected to say that. Because if they used those 2 or 3 minutes or whatever, however much time they get, if they used that to not spout a woke agenda or some cause that, some people care about, but then they feel like they, are going to be ridiculed for not using that time. And it's just, it's kind of ridiculous to me. That's one of the things I think is driving most viewers away. And I don't feel
I'm
like
just tired of being preached at.
Yeah,
You're tuning in to be entertained, and like you said, to
Right.
see the people that you enjoy watching on films
Right.
kind of come down to earth and feel like one of you. And
Yeah.
now it's like, even though Hollywood says it's like, oh, we're part of the everyday person, and we understand the blue collar person. It's like, no, you
Meryl
don't.
Streep.
And it becomes even more evident every year.
You just pooped on her. Is that what it was, Neil? Oh, that was Sean.
That
I'm
was
sorry.
Sean.
I thought Neil made
Another funny thing about this article says that the HFPA had to give a $20 million rebate to NBC to cover the losses.
Even though it was
Because of
NBC's
viewers.
choice.
Yeah. It
To
says
not-
they gave them a
Wow.
$20 million rebate
probably in their
because of the
contract
loss
that
in viewers.
That
Yeah.
if you don't,
Yeah.
if we don't bring in the money, because that's the point of NBC airing it, is that
Yeah.
it's supposed to bring in viewers. So they're
Right.
like, oh, we're sorry, we didn't
Yeah.
do it. So
I mean,
here's some
They
cash.
could have aired another soon-to-be canceled cop show
It's
and
quite
made more money.
It's
So
quite
they're like,
literally.
we
I
want
mean,
our money back.
there's no truer evidence of go woke, go broke. Like literally, Hollywood Foreign
Yeah.
Press and NBC, they're going broke
Yeah.
over
and,
it.
and
So-
obviously, and now at this point, you've got to do it in record time.
Yeah.
You've got to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt
Yeah.
that you're moving heaven and earth to make changes. And that's what I think is, again, I think it's absolutely hilarious that it's the American media that's shutting down the Hollywood Foreign Press, and yet we're still going ahead with the Oscars because they've made the changes we want. So it's like, oh, okay, so
until something
Well,
else happens
exactly.
that
Yeah.
they don't like.
until again we have another year where maybe there's all male directors or there's all white actors that are nominated in a specific category. It's like, again, there's never ever going to be this issue that isn't. It's never not going to be an issue.
Yeah, well, we're starting to see the bigger repercussions of the cancel culture.
Yes.
It used to be small things. Now
Or
it's to the
individual
point-
moments.
Yeah.
Or individual people.
Yeah, but now
Yeah.
it's to the point where if you don't do what we want you to do or what we like,
Yeah.
we're going to shut down a whole broadcast.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to close down a network. We're
Do
gonna,
you
know,
think?
that's
Do
just
you
crazy.
think that NBC or any of the other, I guess, affiliates who may be advertising, regardless, do you think they would have had a different mindset had the Globes been something like, ratings like the Super Bowl? Would that have led to them second guessing the canceling, or is it one of those things where they knew the ratings are abysmal anyway? No,
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like we're looking for a reason to cancel the show.
If the Golden Globes had like stellar ratings and were bringing in money, NBC would have been like, no, we're not getting rid of it.
They would have found an excuse.
But the fact
as,
that like
they're
it's-
trying
yeah.
hard, they would have kept trying to.
The fact that NBC lost money off of airing it and had to get the rebate from the Hollywood, I
Yeah.
guarantee you they're like, oh, we're not making money off this. Just get rid of the damn thing.
yeah,
So,
no doubt.
so are you saying that you think part of the reason for this whole controversy is just an excuse to not air it?
I think it helps.
Partially,
Save
oh,
money?
yeah.
I think it helps because it's like, well, what better time now than under this controversy to say we're going to give you more time to be, get on the right side of
Look,
history.
it looks.
you
Everybody
know.
looks at like some of these, like a lot of these large tech companies, like Amazon
It's
and
a
Apple,
PR
and then
move.
a lot of the production companies. Like everybody's looking at them as like, oh, they care about these causes. Look at it
Bullshit.
makes them look good, but at the end of the day, all they care about is their bottom dollar. The
Yep.
minute it doesn't
Coke,
help them gain money,
just recently reversed some major decisions
they started
made.
they started losing sales, and
Because
Coke's like, oh, we're not going to go woke anymore because
Yes.
we're losing.
Yeah.
We're losing. It's all about the money. They don't care about your
that proves
cause.
to you that these people are big enough to make these decisions, to stand their ground and say, no, we're not going to give in. And yeah, they may have to, face the mob. But again, you realize how small the mob is when you stand up to them and say, no, we're not listening to you. You realize how many of it's just a louder voice in this echo chamber that gets on these platforms and gets into the mainstream media to promote a certain message. But in ultimate reality, it's the people, the silent majority that vote with their dollar and their eyeballs that truly dictate how these companies move. And I just think it's one of these situations where the award shows are they're again, I think they're a problem in and of themselves because of they've abandoned what the point was for so long. I mean,
They've abandoned the award ceremony.
yeah, exactly. It's exactly.
It's like the Oscar itself is. It's like
It's pointless.
Yeah.
It's like the goal is not to win the Oscar. The goal is to get up on stage and be able to spout what we want to spout.
And then give the Oscar to somebody who it's like, see, look, we gave it to that person because they are part of a group that's underserved and they're part of a minority.
Look
so
at the
they
Oscars
deserve
this
it.
year. They cut out clips of the movies. They cut out the original songs. It's like everything that was actually about the movies they cut from the show.
Yep.
They
so
sped up the memoriam or whatever it's called.
Completely disrespectful.
But you know what they did give more time to? People getting up there and giving their speeches.
Yeah.
It's like, so everything that was actually about the movies got cut, but they allowed the things that allowed people to get up there and spout garbage.
I think it's just going to continue, and ultimately, I kind of have to chuckle at to myself whenever I see this news. And
we stopped watching the Golden Globes like 3 years ago.
Well, yeah, but again, it's like I always hesitate before I get too cynical because I think it negatively affects.
Do you?
Well, okay, not really, but no, I'm serious. I hate anything that would negatively affect the industry that I love.
Yeah.
But when you've turned your back so much on what the industry is about for so long, because all it has become about kind of off topic, but I saw it in the news today, and I was telling Sean about it on the ride back from our nice cigar lounge. But the fact that Seth Rogen has completely disowned his friend
James Franco.
And
he's
just
like, I'm not going to make any movies with him
Yeah,
anymore.
and I'm just like, I
Dang
hope I told him
Pineapple Express 2 is not going to happen.
it's not going to happen. Don't count on it.
And you know what? I like James Franco way more than Seth Rogen, so I'm like, that's fine. I'm
American Pickle.
It's like that's the
was a
only
good
one.
movie.
That was the
It was
only
not
one.
a good movie. He's gonna be mad at me.
What? He's
I
mad
didn't
at you
like it.
too. Look at him.
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, the look on your
I
all's
didn't like
faces
it.
right now is hilarious.
I just wasn't a fan.
I didn't like it as much as Sean, but I don't think it was bad. But it's one of those things where it's like the only movies really of Seth Rogen's I watched anyways were the ones he was in with James Franco.
Right,
So
yeah.
now it's like, well,
This is going to sound really cruel, and I know it is, and I don't care. I hope Seth Rogen gets so down in his life and depressed that he's about to put a gun in his mouth, and he needs a friend, and James Franco's not there for him.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, James Franco,
James
may
Franco's
need
gonna
you-
be like, they
you don't
hate
get
us
too-
because they ain't us.
yes,
He's gonna be standing over there.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't get too cynical at all. Talking about putting guns in people's mouths.
Look, it sounds cruel, but I'm sitting here
Yeah.
and I'm like, if there's anybody who needs a friend right now, and he needs somebody who may be going to bat for him, and I don't know. Look, these are accusations. Nothing's been proved,
And they
but
can be
even
true
far
if
be it.
if they are. Then yeah, he deserves one.
And I'll be the first person to say if James Franco is guilty of anything that he's been accused of, absolutely, just like Harvey Weinstein, lock him up, throw away the key. Reinstein, I don't care. Does his name even matter anymore?
No,
but it's
he's
like
done in
he's
Hollywood
done.
too. He got
Kevin
canceled.
Spacey. I mean,
Yeah,
But see,
it's just like let him.
But my point is it's like you can lock them up, throw away the key. For the general public, do I think that's good? Do I think it's okay to rally behind support for getting rid of these creeps? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
When they
here's
are
the thing.
guilty.
I think about myself as in a personal situation where if I make a life altering decision or a mistake, I'm going to look to my friends and my family to be there to have my back no matter what.
Yep.
And the fact that Seth Rogen comes out, it just proves his Hollywood mansion, his millions, his Hollywood deals, and the connections he has there are more important than a friend he's known forever in this business, and that matters to him more. So it's like, you know what? Screw you, Seth Rogen. You're not very funny. Your laugh and your voice is absolutely horrendous. I've never liked you. I'm done.
Can't even do it.
Yeah.
I don't know who heard that and thought, yeah, this is going to make money.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I love Pineapple Express,
I
but
can't stand-
not because of Seth Rogen.
There's not been
Well, I
one
mean,
movie
but I mean,
that
look
he's
at,
been
take
in.
the funny movies aside and look at the Disaster Artist. I mean,
Yes.
you get them to team up for that.
127 hours. Like,
Well, that's
like,
James Franco.
well,
That
I'm
wasn't
just-
Seth Rogen, but I'm
He's
saying
talking about
I'm talking
team-
about movies they
team
did
ups,
together.
yeah.
And I'm just like, you've got they got some magic there together when they want to be serious.
Franco
so it's not
makes
just,
Rogen better.
Maybe.
No, I think anybody who acts with Rogen. I can't stand to sing. There's not one movie with Rogen. That's why I didn't like American Pickle. There's not one movie with Rogen in it by himself as the solo. Knocked Up's okay, but even then, I'm just like, it's more so I think the writing and
And the supporting cast.
supporting cast. It's like there's not one movie where I think he can hold it alone. I don't like him as an actor in general. I know I'm hating on him a bunch just from what he said, but I think a lot of that comes from just the character.
You already
This
didn't care.
this wasn't
Well, yeah,
supposed
I
to be
didn't
our
care.
next topic, but
It
turned
was.
into
It did because I saw it and it pissed me off because I'm like, okay, this is the problem with Hollywood. There's nobody who has any character. There's nobody who's willing to stand up for principles they truly believe in.
Chris
and
Pratt.
those who do, Chris Pratt. But we'll see. We'll see. The day's coming where he'll be tested beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
He's got a faithful following, but again, you only have that until you get to one topic or one discussion
Yeah.
where
That
it
they don't
goes
like.
too far
Hey.
that the woke mob comes after you, and if you
I'll still
kowtow,
be
if
there
you
for
bow
him.
to him,
They've been trying to
if
cancel
they
Chris.
try to cancel
I'm
him,
saying,
I'll
they've been
be
trying
there.
to cancel Chris Pratt for a while now. He's had like 3 or 4. Like,
Oh, I know.
Where they've been like, look what he's done, and everybody's like, we don't care.
well, because at the end of the day, if you're a decent person and you
Yeah.
just go to do your job,
His actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
So people are like, yeah, we still like him. Because
and you hope that
he's a
will
nice
always
guy.
be the case, but that's not always the case.
Here's my thing.
And I'm
Ma-
not trying to defend James Franco for anything he's done that he's alleged to have done. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just saying, if I were in a position where I made mistakes and I was a terrorist, I would hope somebody has my back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Seth Rogen proved to try to be
Well,
that friend for
is
so
there
long
no
and
longer
then bow
so-
out,
I say-
screw you, Seth Rogen.
I know like certain things are bad, and definitely if you're guilty of like harassment, like, you deserve to do your time and serve for whatever crimes you've committed. But at the same time, is there no longer such a thing as forgiveness and grace? Because now
Yeah,
it's like
redemption.
the minute you do something wrong, it's like everybody turns your back on you, and it's
Yep.
like, well, you're just unforgivable. Go off and die somewhere.
Well, it's hilarious that, like, one side of the political aisle wants to let all the criminals out of prison.
Well, they
in-
have
in
to
the name
because
of-
they can't pay
Yeah,
to
but
keep
I'm
them
saying
in there
they do it in
anymore.
the name of rehabilitation. Why can't all of these people be
Well, because
rehabilitated? Why
again,
can't they
it-
get a second
But
chance?
if you're let out of prison and then you go on the wrong side of what their talking points are, well, then you deserve to go right back in.
right back, yeah.
I mean, it's like you're ostracized, you're castrated from the public eye,
Yep.
and that's exactly what we're facing in Hollywood, which is why I think the Golden Globes situation is all the more relevant because it just proves exactly what we're headed towards, which is this is affecting the major institutions, Netflix, Amazon, them jumping on the bandwagon. Who gives a crap? I mean,
That's more for
it's like,
publicity.
if anything, it's going to hurt them more anyway because they're the ones who have been fighting for years to be relevant in the awards
I mean,
ceremonies.
Netflix has been operating in the red for years, so you know.
But they keep trying to get that status as being so many Oscars. That's the
We're
claim to fame that they
prestigious,
want.
yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, well, keep going down the road you're going
like-
because the more that these awards no longer have the prestige that they once did, then you're just going to make yourselves irrelevant.
Hey,
And it doesn't matter
Netflix
anymore.
they have all kinds of noms. You know they're prestigious. They can make great movies
I
like
also
Stowaway.
am going to make a weird, bold prediction right here, right now on the show.
Crap, here it goes.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's listen.
I don't know.
Nild's not ready for this. I believe, and this is far out. So really, if I die, nobody can prove me wrong. I'm building it
Just
up.
don't stick a gun in your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
we'll be there
Seth.
for you though.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Y'all aren't like Seth Rogen at all. You're really my friend.
What were you gonna say? Come on.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm waiting.
I believe in 70 years.
Oh,
I know this is going far down the rabbit
yeah,
hole.
it is.
Netflix will not exist.
I can agree with that.
Well, yeah, but a lot of stuff isn't going to exist in
Well,
70 years.
But but you look at the greatest brands ever. You look at and we have a lot of them that are now becoming big tech. But you look at like Coca-Cola.
Sears and Roebuck.
Yep, I'm
Where's
telling
It's
you.
dead. Yeah,
Yep.
it's gone.
Once household names, and I'm telling you, everybody's putting their money on Netflix these days. Everybody's talking about how big a player they are. Same with Amazon. Amazon's obviously got way more of far-reaching hands
Yeah.
than Netflix, but I do not think Netflix is as big a player as they claim to be.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
There's so many streaming services now, and every production company has their own now that it's like you don't really have to have the Netflix.
And I'm sorry, I do not see them actually. I see them hemorrhaging money and then placing bets in this kind of culture. They're trying to keep the the pulse on the culture and react, but I don't think that's what you need in this type of to withstand it. They're so wishy-washy. It's like I think they're just willing to say whatever they can to stay relevant, and I think that bolds a poor favor when it comes to a long-term.
I use it's one of the least used of my streaming services now because everyone else is starting to offer more.
I don't know why you get movies
Yeah.
like Stowaway.
See, I don't know if I can agree with you on that because
I don't ever turn Netflix
I still
on.
think
don't
Netflix
either.
has more original shows or series than any other streaming service out there.
Not worth a few worth watching, but every time I turn, I'm like the Queen's Gambit.
To me, less
good,
is more.
but
Less is more. I just feel like
Yeah.
they
quality over quantity. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've seen some pretty good shows on Netflix though, but I don't find any shows to watch on Amazon other than The Boys.
Yeah. Well, I don't
and
watch
maybe a couple others. but
Amazon's my least used.
Disney is just old stuff
Actually,
that I've
I
already
use-
seen before.
Here's the
I
weird
watch
thing.
Disney way more than Netflix.
And maybe this
it's
is
like
a topic,
Amazon's the bottom, then Netflix, but after that, it's Disney
and
Plus.
maybe this is a topic for another time, but this kind of raises a good question. It's like, are streaming services? Do you find yourself going to streaming services more for past content or original content?
Too hot to handle. Original content right there.
Too hot to handle.
Mm.
I like that, Neil. That was nice.
I can agree. I think that probably comes from I could probably bet that Neil doesn't watch a lot of reruns of older shows. And I know you guys do. You watch
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell. You watch
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets
That's
World
where it's at.
3 times a year.
That's right.
And it's like I saw Breaking Bad. I actually watched it all twice. I'm not going to watch it all again. I know what happens.
will.
I don't watch it.
I will.
But I'm just like, even a great show like that, I'll give it twice. I've watched Battlestar Galactica, all of them, twice. So I'll do that for something really, really great, but maybe not more than twice. I don't go back and rewatch shows.
Yeah.
So newer stuff is more appealing
See,
to me.
but I even find older shows
Is
that I
this
haven't
now our
seen.
multimedia segment?
I know we need to move on. I'm sorry.
I'm just
I
saying,
know.
no, it's a good one. We might have to revisit
I
this
just-
for
I just find
multimedia.
that
it's
I end
almost
up-
10 o'clock.
I
so.
know we do need to move on.
It would be a good multimedia segment.
would
I
be,
just think
though.
I go and find older shows that I would like to watch that I never saw.
Yeah.
More so than looking
I do
forward
that
to
too,
original
actually.
Well,
content.
sometimes the older shows are better than what's out
Yeah.
now.
Exactly.
I
So
agree.
I can meet you there.
There we go. All right. I guess now we're ready. Sean, Neil, did you want to add anything to that?
Nope.
Okay. All right, let's move on then to our multimedia segment.
Multimedia.
Multimedia.
Multimedia. Yeah. You didn't hit it. There it is.
It would have sounded nice right after it, but
Well, Neil, I'm throwing it to you.
it just went.
All right.
Because
What am I doing?
You're well, it's funny because you're actually having to entertain
not
my
gonna
dog
sing.
down there, and I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
She's getting a little feisty.
So-
She's cute. She can get away with
What
it.
are we throwing to Neil?
I don't know. I just wanted to throw it to Neil.
okay.
Just because, you know what? He's our special
I'll
guest.
throw things to
So
Neil.
are we?
What do you want me to throw
Are
at
we
you,
going
Neil?
with that topic, or do you have another
No,
one?
no,
picked
no, no.
out?
We're going to go with our original topic,
Okay, what
which
is
is talking about the Falcon and Winter
Well,
Soldier.
Neil hasn't seen it.
Oh, crap.
Not a
dude.
single episode.
Oh, no. We don't want to. Are you going to watch it, Neil?
As soon as I get Disney Plus, so no.
Oh, I thought you were sharing. I thought you were sharing that with Colin.
No.
No.
Oh,
no.
so you don't have Disney Plus.
Correct.
Do you care if we spoiled it?
I don't.
You sure?
Trust me, I'm
Last
positive.
chance.
I haven't seen anything on Disney Plus. I saw
Ever.
The Mandalorian season 1.
I'll have
Did
to
you like
see-
that one?
I'll have to see how many family members I can have, but I might be able to hook you up
Cool.
If you
okay.
want to watch.
in a totally legal way.
Yeah, I'm
He is-
moving.
he
I'm
is
moving into that
family.
new house.
He
so.
is family.
Sorry. What was your question?
No, I just want to make sure, like, you won't care if we
No,
spoil it.
I am
We
not.
could save
gonna
it for
be
another
upset.
week and do
Nope,
the
nope. Go for
original
it.
versus
Hey,
old
I'm either
content
gonna
debate.
I'm either gonna find out that I do want to watch it or I don't want to watch it. So
Okay. Well, then let's talk about it. Falcon
Okay.
and Winter Soldier. Where do we stand as far as this being a Disney Plus original?
I'm going to throw a wrench at Neil here and say that some parts of it you do want to watch and some parts of it you don't want. I like it overall.
Well,
but
that's
there are
true of
definitely,
most things.
I like it overall, but there are definitely parts of it that I did not like. So
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll expand on that.
We will.
I also agree. I thought it was overall ended on a high note. Some slow episodes.
Yeah.
Again, it's only 6 episodes, so that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
Um,
At least it's easy to watch being 6. Yeah.
True. It's easier to
definitely,
digest.
It's definitely filler material, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good filler
Yeah.
material.
That was my
It
main
expounds
problem.
on some
Gonna say,
key plot points.
That was my
Yeah.
main problem with it, is that it didn't feel as integral a story. Like, it's like, okay, we bridge a gap of him getting the shield and him accepting the shield, but it's like he didn't really have to have a series to tell that story.
Right.
Like, and that was kind of like really the only, I mean, it builds up for some future stuff, which Marvel always does, but I hate when it's like, if that's the main crux of your story is building to something else, then you don't really have a good story. Like, the story should stand on its own.
Yeah.
And it's not that I thought this one was a bad story. I did like it, but there was definitely, I felt like Sean said, more of a filler of building to what's next rather than being its own thing.
True, but I kind of feel like they did advertise it that way. I mean, most of their stuff has been, especially in the Marvel universe,
I get that, but coming off of WandaVision, which I felt stood on, I mean, it's still built towards Doctor Strange, but I still felt like it stood on its own in the end. Whereas this, I think the last episode really does of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but before you get to that, it just felt like a lot of.
I don't know. I thought it got better as it went along.
Oh, it did, definitely.
I thought
that's what I'm saying. By the end of it, I was satisfied, but starting out, I was just kind of worried.
So, as somebody that doesn't know the comic books, are the Flag Smashers, are they real?
mean,
Is that in the comic books?
I think no, that was more of a. I mean, her character Carly is kind of based off of a comic book character, but they were kind of original to the story. U.S. Agent is from the comics, and I did think they handled him really well. In fact, I felt like they made him more sympathetic in this than he is in the comic books, which I enjoyed. I was like, okay, he is an a-hole, but at least in this, it's like you kind of get a reasoning for him getting there. Like, it just didn't feel straight out of nowhere. Like, he's the new Cap, and you have to hate him because he's an a-hole. They kind of build that up in this, and I did appreciate that. Like, in the comics, I feel like it's just kind of like, well, we want you to not like this guy.
So
as
John
Cap.
Walker is who becomes Captain America at the beginning of the series,
Right.
And I did like his arc. I did not think I was going to. I think they did a good job of making me dislike him for most of the show, and then having an arc at the end that made it really positive, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't mind him as much. It was one of those things where I'm like, I'm glad he's not Captain America, but I'm glad he turned a new leaf and kind of learned from his hard lesson.
He is supposed to be a character that is like, he is a good guy in the comics, but he is that one that's always on the edge of like not doing the right
and I thought
thing.
they
so,
nailed
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I also thought, this was a movie where you take two side characters in the huge Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's like you get more, I think, time with Falcon in the like all the Marvel movies. Bucky, I don't know, you don't get a lot of him, and I feel like he's always just a brooding, very.
And I think part of that is because they wanted him to be the mysterious brooding guy in the movies,
but I liked that this series focuses on his backstory, or I guess the trauma he's, that has happened to him throughout.
Yeah, I like the aspect they gave with him, and then the older Asian man that like he was when Bucky's trying to like make like I forget the word, but basically he's just like looking for like not forgiveness, but amends kind of. But anyways, I like the fact that they give him that aspect of, okay, you see the remorse of like, even though he wasn't in control of himself when he was Winter Soldier, he still feels the guilt because he knows everything he did and all the harm he caused.
I thought the Isaiah storyline, Isaiah Bradley.
That was what I was nervous about.
But at first it had me. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
They will never accept a black man as Captain America.
And here's the thing. I love, and I agree. In the culture, this is one of those series where you can definitely tell they tap into the cultural
it's influenced.
Exactly. But the unrest that's going on, you can tell they use that as motivation for this. However, I do believe that the bridge that Sam's character, who is Falcon,
Sam is what saved it for me. Absolutely,
absolutely, and his bridging of the gap of trying to say, I understand Isaiah's pain and that generation, but how I have to be, I have to keep fighting for what I believe in, what my buddy Steve Rogers showed me is a true fighter and a true believer. And it's like, I think that alone was the message that ended on a high note for me for the show that made it worthwhile.
What
and made
really
it worth
cinched
watching.
it for me was when his line was, he was like, "I'll be damned if someone tells me I can't fight for this country." And I was like,
Yes.
okay. At that moment, I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
I absolutely buy Sam as Captain
Absolutely.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his last speech
To the
his big speech,
senators,
yeah.
I loved that.
That was great.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people, a lot of viewers that were hoping that it would be a different direction didn't like that
Yeah.
part of the show.
Yeah.
I just
because
like,
they were expecting it to go like
They were- yeah.
completely.
I love that he
Here's
calls them
Black
out. and
Captain
he's,
America going
yes,
to tell
yeah.
it how it is, and
Yeah.
he's going to tell us from his perspective.
But he
and lay
did
down
tell it
on
how
us.
it is,
Yeah.
like how it really is. I love
Exactly.
the fact that he
Yes.
told them, "You are the ones with the true power.
Yes.
You are the ones that have to do something." And I love that because
when
it's
he
true.
says, he
Like,
says, you all are insane gods that are insane with power. You're like gods that are like
yeah,
that have this power, or like a misguided 13-year-old,
Yeah.
like reckless. And I freaking that whole line and that
Yep.
spiel. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, he's letting them have it.
Yeah.
Like here they are. They want to sit here and pat him on the head and say, you just don't understand all the
Yeah.
all the details,
all the
and all
politicking that
right.
goes on.
Yeah.
That
And
has
he's like,
to
no,
happen.
no, I do understand it because I live it every single day.
Yeah.
And I know other people who are in this situation. And if you're not speaking to them because all you're doing is looking at them like they're a number on a page, or, they're just some group over here, you don't see them as a human, then of course you're taking away
Yes,
their
when he's
human
like,
nature.
you have to ask, like, why? Like, I love that when he was
Yes.
like, it's like these people were willing to die and kill other people for
Exactly.
their cause, and you never stop to say, why are they that willing to die for this cause? And I love that because it's like, yeah, they may be wrong, but you do have to stop and think, well, even though they're wrong, why are they doing it?
Right.
Yeah.
I will say I do not like his costume.
Oh, I love his costume.
I think it looks too like comic booky.
I didn't mind
Maybe
it
that's
in-
why I
I
love it
didn't
because it
mind
is
it-
very reminiscent
Yeah.
of his comic book.
I
costume.
feel like Captain America started in the first Avenger. Like his costume is very
down to earth.
spandex
Yeah.
and cartoony,
Yeah.
and then it evolves into the carbon fiber.
Yes.
and the red is not red; it's like crimson, and it becomes more modern. I felt like
There's might be
with-
too much white with
I
his
felt
new
like
costume,
with
I didn't. The
they
goggles
tried to
were
offset
got
it.
me.
Yeah.
I liked.
See, I like the goggles
I
because
liked the
flight.
fighting.
I was
the
like, it
costume-
looks like Buzz Lightyear. I'm like, change the color
It is.
scheme. He's Buzz Lightyear.
I liked it when he was fighting. I didn't like it when he was in the speech and it kept showing the close up, and I'm like, I'm distracted. Like I'm seeing this on and I can't take him seriously right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. See,
I
I
had to look
liked it, but
beyond it.
again, it was just because of the comics.
Yeah,
which I
that's
get,
fine.
But I mean, yeah,
But all I'm hearing, that's like the first negative I've heard.
was the costume.
Yeah.
Well, here's
You all
the thing.
like dribbled some stuff in there, but that's the first
Because there is at the end of the
highlight
day, there
negative.
is more good than bad. There's just
Yeah.
there's certain
It's
moments where
slow.
they start
with
going.
every series you do have, even if it's only 6 episodes. There's about I feel like there's at least 2 that I became bored with.
Yeah.
About halfway through the episode, I'm like, okay, well, this is just one of them episodes where it's like we didn't have anything action, we didn't have anything spectacular to do. We're just it's gonna be mostly talking, and it's gonna be mostly building this situation to come at the end.
The last 3
And I-
episodes are better than the first 3 for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I
It
thought.
does have a little
Yeah.
bit of a slow up climb.
I thought honestly though.
I thought Zemo was underused. They build him up, and
Yeah.
then it was kind of like, oh, he really only did
I thought
something
that
in one
that
episode.
whole plot point of them getting there. I agreed. I thought the last 3 episodes, there's a few slow moments where you see Bucky and their character development, where they kind of bond and they become friends. And
That's
I like
nice.
those
the whole
moments,
I thought the whole rebuilding the boat
I
thing.
like
was
that.
like, I mean, I liked it, but I felt like it was too long.
I
was
can
like,
agree- yeah.
I get it. We don't have to see him sand this down and paint this and
they're just letting it
lift
sit in.
this, and it's like we get it. We know Bucky's arm is super strong. So
Yeah.
it's like he's gonna lift this thing that the other guy can't lift, and I'm like, I get it, but that was way too long. I understand what they were trying to do, and I liked it, and I really
No,
I kind of liked the flirting between Bucky and the
His
sister.
sisters, yes,
and
I
I
love that.
liked that, but it was just way too long. I was like,
I like
okay.
the for me the best part was in that episode was when he's practicing with the shield.
Yeah, and they're tossing
and
it
they're
back and forth.
they're
yeah.
going back and forth, and Bucky's kind of for the first time not really questioning Sam's, equating Sam to Steve Rogers. he's kind of asking Sam as a friend because now he kind of trusts his perspective, and he sees that Sam is a little bit more like, again, he's got the character of what a Captain America should.
Yeah.
And I liked how it was like this, he's now not only just a friend, he kind of looks at him as like a mentor and somebody he looks up to. And I think that was somebody that Bucky needed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just thought it was, the way their relationship starts off, I thought they kind of jump into the whole, they play it too comedic. They're back and forth and them like not liking each other.
I love their back and forth because that's the whole shtick from the movies.
No.
I
did.
Bickering.
I liked it, but I didn't think the tone that they were setting with it made me feel like they really hated each other. I kept thinking
I don't think they ever
to be
did
lighthearted.
hate each other. It was always
they play it up whenever they're in the therapy session and they're going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean I get that, but from like the movies to this, it's like there is always kind of like this rivalry of who's the better friend to Steve.
No, I didn't get that though.
Yeah.
I got in this series, it was like they did not like each other. They only had the respect.
See, I never.
They only had the respect for when it came to a mission and getting the job done, and that was it. And it's then the arc of throughout the series how not only through the respect of being battle partners, but then seeing the struggles of one another.
I never got that message. I always felt like they had a mutual kind of respect. They weren't best friends, but they didn't hate each other. Other than I do feel like Bucky was very disappointed in like Sam giving up the shield, and I think there was that animosity.
To
but
me,
outside of that animosity, I didn't think they hated each other.
I kept getting the vibe that it was like Bucky is the one who's actually equipped to have the shield. He's the one, he would make the most sense to take on the role, but he knows because of his past and because of his own inner struggle that he's not the right guy to be it. And I felt like you do see him struggle with that at times. He wants the shield. He wants to take up that
but
mantle,
he doesn't hold the same
He doesn't
ideals.
deserve it.
Yeah.
He knows he doesn't deserve it. And then he sees
Sam, he can't fully
and
take
Sam's
it on.
not fully equipped to handle the shield, but he's the one who really deserves it.
Yeah.
And to see him grow into someone who becomes equipped to handle the shield, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I think that was where they kind of there's a rift between them, but then I think that's what brings them back together is the fact that he finally does take the shield, and that's when Bucky can say finally, like, okay, somebody else has it. Now I don't have to struggle with myself wanting it and not wanting it.
I know we're going to have to wrap up soon, but there is one aspect we haven't talked about that I do want to give them props to, is because, I mean, this is obviously a 6-episode miniseries on Disney+. Actually, this one might not be a miniseries. There's potential for another season, unlike WandaVision. But one thing that's impressive was the production design and the fight choreography. Like, that last episode felt like I was watching a movie, like a Marvel movie in
Avengers
theaters.
movie,
Like the special effects, the fights. I mean, the whole helicopter scene like blew my mind. I was like, it's like this is really good. And
there were a
TV
couple moments to knock.
There were some bad CGI here or there.
Well, not just CGI. There were also moments that I thought, because Falcon is not a super soldier, there were a couple moments where I thought, I don't know
stretching
if he would
the realm of believability.
I don't think he would have survived that. That was a little bit too much. But I agree in terms of, Disney Plus gets this. For them to make you wait for week after week, but then also these series that they have that are originals, they definitely put their money where their mouth is. And they make it worth your time, because it is like you're watching. Because some of these episodes too are like they're hour long.
Yeah, they're hour long.
They're not mincing. They're not cutting it short.
There's one scene, and it's when he has Carly, and he's like flying down like with her in his arm. That looked really goofy. Like I was like, I'm not buying this.
Liked that.
Oh, really?
That one I liked. I thought that looked good.
I felt he just flying down. His wings are outstretched, and it's like he's holding her, and it's like an angel or something. Like descending.
I don't know. That's what I liked. I thought
I saw it,
good.
and I was just
liked
like,
it.
I don't know. That one bugged me, but other than that, I thought everything looked really good.
Yeah.
So Neil, based on what we've talked about, what do you think our review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier is?
I mean, it makes me want to watch it more. It sounds like it's a great addition to the Marvel universe.
Which, are you like a huge fan of the Marvel universe, or have you kept up with it? Do you like watching it?
I've kept up with the movies, but none of the Disney Plus stuff.
Okay.
I haven't seen any of. I saw the first episode of WandaVision and hated it. But everybody tells me you need to get past.
The first 3 episodes are just basically sitcoms. So if you're not a fan of old sitcoms, you probably won't like the first 3 episodes.
I give every show 3 episodes, and then I'm out if it's not got me. So I am
liked
going to give it 2
WandaVision
more.
was good.
I
It was
am
good.
going to.
You should
So-
get to the 4th because, like, really, like the first 3 really are just based. It's not till the very end of the 3rd episode that they start breaking that sitcom mold.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I will
Yeah.
say between the 2 shows, WandaVision sounds more interesting because I like those characters more.
Okay. Yeah.
I like Bucky, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
and-
see, I've actually always liked Sam more than Bucky, so like I'm glad that he's captain.
Well, you're
which
wrong.
He becomes. He does. I was glad that like they chose him to be the next Captain America because in the comics, Bucky does get it first, but he's not suited for it, and then like Sam becomes Captain America. So I'm like, they just kind of skipped that whole thing and just went
I
straight
do
to
agree
Sam.
though with you, Neil. It seems like it's just much more, I don't know, appealing and easier. It's an easy approach to go with WandaVision first. And
Well, I agree with that. I like those characters more too, especially from the comics. Like Scarlet Witch and Vision are so powerful. It's fine. It's nice to finally see that in like,
Yes.
because you get a glimpse of that in the movies, but they finally get to display it like by the end of WandaVision. I'm like,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Alrighty, guys. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. But as always, you can email us. That's right. Email still does have a purpose these days.
Can I do it?
RM Podcast.
Sean likes when I do it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, then you do it.
It's because it's RM Podcast at redmoonproductions.com.
Jeez.
He just sends a shiver up your leg, doesn't it?
Every time.
Gets you right in the funny bone.
Oh yeah.
It's the pauses.
What
gotta
about
have
you,
those
Neil?
Pauses.
Could you repeat it for us since you're our special guest this week?
RM Podcast at redmoonproductions.com.
I like that one.
Was
a
the pause
close-
too long?
that's a tie.
No, that was
That was
beautiful.
good. That was really good.
That deep
Yep.
voice, it just sounded so soothing.
It's like we're gonna have a voice RM Podcast at redmoonproductions.com. I stuttered over
struggled
production, so I
there.
ruined,
Yeah.
I ruined it.
You ruined
I
it.
stuttered.
You
yeah.
ruined it.
I
But
got
you
it.
win.
I got it.
You gotta
Neil,
go
I
again.
could.
You're wrong. That's all I got.
I was gonna say like
I like the pause at the end of that too.
ASMR.
You're
but
wrong.
I could listen to Neil do some.
Oh yeah.
ASMR.
Oh yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. In my
He could be
mind.
one of those like that. They have the now that like the actors do the things that put you to sleep. Like I think Michael Shannon has one like where they just read like recordings and you're supposed to
Really?
listen. Yeah, they're like bedtime whatever
in
and
the
like
hell?
yeah, and like you literally like they now have like celebrities that read them and
Oh,
you
okay.
turn it on at night and
Morgan
you listen
Freeman
to them.
would get
That would be a
me.
good one. There's
could-
somebody I forget who it is that like I really actually do want to listen to because I'm like oh yeah that'd be a great voice to hear as you're going to sleep.
I could,
So soothing.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it. As always, you can also catch us on Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Picks, and just search for Red Moon Productions on YouTube. That's right, all our social. Like, share, subscribe, follow us. Click that bell icon for the notifications. We love all of our viewers and peeps listening out there in Radio
Ding
Land.
ding.
That was beautiful.
That's
Can
Rocky
you do that
too.
again?
You know Rocky?
Do it.
Yeah. When he's like, ding, ding. He does. You know what I'm talking about? When he's like, when they're about to fight, like him and Apollo at the end of Rocky
You didn't
2,
even know we had a Tinseltown
man,
and they're
trivia
about to
tonight
fight.
about
Remember
that.
that?
And it's just like, it's their rematch.
Yeah.
But nobody's actually there because it's
Yeah.
just
It's
them.
just for fun. Yeah.
So yeah, he's like, ring the bell. And Apollo goes, ding, ding.
I do not remember that. at all.
Alrighty, guys,
Great
that's
stuff.
going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
And who goes, yeah.
Oh, you got a point, Neil.
Shot, scruffy, septic, cudgeon, pandas, dumpling, flopping, snoot quirks.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.